11 on Saturday. I woke up around 6 o'clock this morning, then went back to bed to sleep. We have planned to have brunch together this morning, and I knew if I got up really early I would end up feeling very hungry way before James was ever awake. There's no point me having breakfast on my own and then having brunch about half an hour later. And as brunch is something that James and I like doing together as a couple, then I decided to essentially save myself. So I went back to bed, went back to sleep. James is now doing brunch next door in the kitchen. We have par-baked rolls, or baguettes. I think it might be the baguettes today. Veggie bacon and eggs. Good afternoon. It's about 3:30. I am just giving up on any pretense whatsoever that I know what I'm doing with hair and looks. And do you know what? I'm clean. I've got clean clothes on. I've had a shower. That's about as much as I can hope for a Saturday morning in lockdown. Saturday afternoon in lockdown. Anyway, yesterday evening after I stopped recording, I started trying to unpick the seams on my stripy blouses. I think it was this one I did. Well, I didn't realise they're French seams. So that's what I've ended up with. I mean, that's about a centimetre, 2 centimetres of excess fabric. But if you look at it, that's all got holes in. That's basically not going to be usable. So I don't know whether it's worth carrying on unpicking all of the seams and then trimming it, or whether it's just worth cutting the seams to start with. But I have started on that. I've also had a thought, and I'm actually wondering whether this fabric should be on the inside rather than the outside, because it's cotton and it rumples up and just looks hideous very, very quickly. This is the blouse, or one of these two was the blouse that I wore for my Queen's Guide Award presentation many years ago. And although it was absolutely immaculate when I put it on in the morning, by the time I'd travelled into central London to Liverpool Street and then walked from Liverpool Street station to wherever the presentation was, I can't remember exactly now, but it was somewhere near Liverpool Street, and then had sat waiting for the presentation, it looked like an absolute dishcloth. And I remember standing outside the place where we had the presentation, just looking at this long queue of young women, all in their blouses, all of which just looked like crumpled dishcloths. So I may use this as a lining rather than as an outside, or I may have to get some interfacing. So iron, essentially stick this to the lining fabric to try and give it a bit more strength, to try and stop it from crumpling and creasing up too much. That's one. This fabric, I'm trying to work out what colour to do for the inside. I may have an old grey sleeping bag to cut up. I've also got some lime green fabric and possibly some yellow. I genuinely don't know. I will have a think about that one. I kind of like the idea of lime green just because it's a real contrast with this, but then actually grey could work as well. I need to check. I may not have a spare pillowcase that I can cut up, but yeah, that's that one. And what I've also done, because I'm trying to make bags from stuff that I already have, not going out and buying new stuff, getting rid of stuff that I already have, using up stuff I already have. But there are some things I do need. Interfacing is one. There are a couple of projects I think need zips. I definitely need cord for the drawstring bags. So what I've done, because I'm organised ish, is made a list of all the bags I want to make, and what I need for all of them. And then what I'm going to do is go through and tick off bits and pieces. Also, black bias binding. I don't think that's on the list. No, so there's one thing there that I've missed. That's why I make a list. So yeah, that's this afternoon so far. So when I record me sitting and talking on the sofa like I did just now, I put my phone on a tripod on a box so it's the right height. And this is the contents of the box. So after I took my phone, or switched my phone off, took the tripod down, put the box away, or started to put the box away, I had a rummage just to see what was there, and I found that fabric, which I think could possibly go as a lining for that. There's a contrast there, but it's not majorly clashing, but it also feels that both that shade of turquoise and that shade of pinky red are of the same kind of hue and the same kind of tone. I'm not sure it necessarily shows up as well on the phone as it does in real life, so that's potential. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. Then the other thing I found was this, which is fabric I bought in Brussels a couple of years ago, with the aim of making, yes, you've guessed it, a project bag. And I think I was going to do a red contrast lining for this one to go with the red mouths. So yeah, another bag to add to the list. So I've been going at this blouse again. I've managed to remove panel from the front, collar and an arm. These front panels had more fabric in them than I realised once the dart's been let out, which I haven't yet done. But my plan had been to use that stripy bit from the front panels for a handle, and then use the back, which has got the bulk of the fabric, for the bag itself. And I have two blouses, so I can do that. I've got ample fabric. But what I didn't realise, or didn't really register, is that these bands here, where this is where the buttons is, there's also the same on the buttonhole, which then fold onto the blouse and give a bit of stability, have got interfacing on them. So what I might actually do is use this strip from this blouse and the same button band strip from the other blouse, because it's got the interfacing in, it will make it a little bit more stiff and a little thicker, and use those two to make the wristband. Listen to them birds, they're lovely. Right, so I'm in the garden to put some stuff in the compost heap. The caddy we have in the kitchen is overflowing, it needs to be emptied out. If you can hear noises in the background, that's one of our neighbours who are doing some DIY on their house. I don't like putting stuff in the compost bin, because usually when I open the lid of the bin I just get a mouthful of, or face full of flies, really small ones. It's just really grim and horrible. I do not like it. Oh, now the seagull's coming to join the conversation. But the first thing I need to do before putting the the fruit and vegetable waste in, is put these on. So these are the cardboard tubes from the inside of toilet rolls. And when we get enough, I open them out, scrunch them up. When you're doing compost, the idea is to have layers in between your fruit and vegetable scraps, because you need air to circulate throughout the pile of compost. I think it's to give air to any of the insects and bugs and beasties and creepy crawlies and whatnot that are in the compost bin, breaking down the fruit and vegetables. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then after that I'm going to sign off. It's been a good day. I'm not sure I've necessarily done much, but I've enjoyed what I've done. James did some washing up before he went to work, so the kitchen is kind of clear. I spent some time with him this morning. It's just me on my own for dinner this evening. I really want to go and get fish and chips, but I'm probably going to stick to pasta. A, because we have more pasta, and B, because it's money saving. Although, on the flip side, going for fish and chips would be supporting a local business, which is something I'm also keen on. So we'll see. But yeah, this evening I'll probably be doing some more knitting, more editing, and more ripping up of that blouse. Hopefully, I will have one completely deconstructed blouse by tomorrow. And I may also look online for haberdashery to buy some of the things I need for these bags. So that's it for Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow.